The phone call came at 3 in the morning. I already knew. When you've been married for 61 years, you know. The nurse's voice was gentle, but I didn't need gentle. I needed Margaret back. I'd left the hospital only 4 hours earlier because she insisted I go home and sleep. Those were her last words to me. Go home, Robert. Get some rest. I should have stayed. I should have been holding her hand when she took her last breath. Instead, I was alone in our bed, on her side, trying to smell her perfume on the pillow. Now I'm 83 years old, and for the first time since I was 22, I'm facing the world without her. The funeral was yesterday. Everyone kept telling me how sorry they were, how she was in a better place, how I should be grateful for the time we had. Grateful. I am grateful. But gratitude doesn't fill the space beside me at breakfast. It doesn't answer when I call her name, forgetting she's gone. 3 times today I've picked up the phone to tell her something before remembering. The house feels wrong. Everything is exactly where it should be, but nothing is right. Her reading glasses are still on the coffee table, folded on top of a mystery novel she'll never finish. Her coffee cup from our last morning together sits in the sink because I can't bring myself to wash it. Our daughter Elizabeth came by this morning with food I won't eat. She's worried. She wants me to come stay with her and her husband. She doesn't understand that leaving this house would be like losing Margaret twice. Every corner holds us. The kitchen where we danced on Sunday mornings. The garden she spent 30 years perfecting. The bedroom where we talked until dawn on nights when sleep wouldn't come. People keep asking me what I need. What I need is impossible. What I need is one more conversation, one more meal together, one more chance to say I love you and actually hear her say it back. Instead, I'm learning to be a widower. That's what they call me now, not husband, widower. It sounds so final, so empty. Here's what nobody tells you about losing your person. It's not just the big moments you miss, it's the tiny ones. The way she hummed while folding laundry, how she always stole the extra blanket at night, and I'd pretend to be annoyed. The fact that she knew exactly how I took my coffee after 6 decades and still asked every single morning. Those moments seemed ordinary when we had them. Now they're everything. I've been going through our photos, 61 years of pictures. Margaret at 24, in her wedding dress, looking at me like I hung the moon. Margaret at 40, holding our newborn grandson. Margaret at 70, laughing at my terrible joke, her whole face lighting up. The last photo we took together was 3 months ago at Elizabeth's birthday party. Margaret was already sick by then, though we didn't know how sick. In the picture, she's leaning against me, my arm around her shoulders. We're both smiling, but if you look closely, you can see the tiredness in her eyes. I wish I'd looked more closely then. I wish I'd asked more questions, paid more attention, held her tighter. But that's the nature of love, isn't it? You never know which moment will be your last, which goodbye is final, which kiss is the one you'll replay forever. Our grandson, Michael, called today. He's 26, same age I was when I married his grandmother. He asked me about love, about how you know when you've found the right person. I told him the truth. You don't always know at first. Margaret and I had our share of fights. We went through hard times. Losing our son to cancer when he was only 16 nearly destroyed us. Financial struggles, health scares, moments when we weren't sure we'd make it. But we chose each other every single day. That's what love is. Not the fireworks, not the perfect moments. It's choosing the same person when things fall apart. It's holding hands in hospital waiting rooms. It's forgiveness when you'd rather hold a grudge. It's showing up even when it's hard. Michael got quiet when I said that. Then he asked the question I've been dreading. How do you go on? How do you wake up tomorrow and the next day and the day after that when the person who made waking up worthwhile is gone? I didn't have an answer right away. I'm still figuring that out myself. But here's what I'm learning. You go on because they would want you to. Margaret spent our last week together making me promise things. Promise you'll eat regular meals. Promise you'll see the doctor for your checkups. Promise you'll spend time with Elizabeth and the grandkids. Promise you won't give up. I made those promises while holding her hand, watching her struggle for each breath. I meant every word. Keeping those promises is how I honor her now. So I get up each morning even though the bed feels too big. I make coffee even though I only need 1 cup. I eat the meals Elizabeth brings even though food tastes like nothing. I answer the phone when friends call even though talking exhausts me. Small steps, that's all I can manage right now. But Margaret always said small steps still move you forward. She was right about most things. I'm also learning that grief isn't something you get over. It's something you carry. Some days the weight is unbearable. Other days it's almost manageable. But it never disappears, nor should it. This grief is proof of 61 years of love. It's the price of having something worth losing. And I'd pay it 1,000 times over for one more day with her. This morning, I did something I haven't done since Margaret got sick. I went to the park where I proposed to her 62 years ago. The bench is still there, the same one where I got down on one knee with a ring I'd saved 6 months to buy. I sat on that bench for 2 hours, remembering everything. How nervous I was. How beautiful she looked in her yellow dress. How she said yes before I even finished asking. How we kissed, and an old man walking his dog started clapping. Sitting there, I realized something. Margaret isn't really gone. I know how that sounds. I'm not losing my mind. I understand she's dead. I buried her, but she's not gone from me. She's in every decision I make, every value I hold, every kindness I show. 61 years together shaped who I am. You can't spend that much time with someone and not become partly them. I hear her voice when I'm trying to decide things. What would Margaret do? What would Margaret say? Margaret. And I always know the answer because I knew her that well. The park was full of young couples today. I watched them holding hands, laughing, taking pictures. They have no idea what's coming. The decades ahead. The challenges they'll face. The ways they'll hurt each other and heal. The ordinary days that will become their most precious memories. I wanted to tell them something. Cherish the boring moments, the grocery store trips, the quiet evenings, the morning coffee routine. Those moments seem endless when you're young. They're not. They're gifts. Limited gifts. And one day you'd give everything for just one more boring Tuesday together. Our neighbor Dorothy stopped by this afternoon. She lost her husband 5 years ago. She didn't offer platitudes or advice. She just sat with me in silence for an hour, then made us both tea. Before she left, she said something that stuck with me. The first year is survival. You're just trying to make it through each day. But eventually you start living again. Not the same life. That life is over. But a different life. One that honors what you had while making room for what comes next. I don't know what comes next for me. At 83, my tomorrows are limited, but they're still mine. And I owe it to Margaret to make them count. She fought so hard to stay alive. She endured treatments that made her sick. She pushed through pain I can't imagine. All for more time, more mornings, more chances to see her family. If she fought that hard for life, how can I waste the life I have left? So here's my plan. I'm going to finish the mystery novel she was reading and tell her how it ends next time I visit her grave. I'm going to learn to cook the recipes she made for 60 years so I can teach them to our granddaughter Sarah. I'm going to finally take that trip to Ireland she always wanted, but we kept postponing. I'm going to say yes when Elizabeth invites me to dinner instead of making excuses. I'm going to call old friends instead of waiting for them to call me. I'm going to live deliberately instead of just existing. I went through Margaret's jewelry box yesterday. She didn't have much. We were never wealthy, but every piece tells a story. The pearl earrings I bought her for our 10th anniversary, the simple gold locket holding pictures of our children, the charm bracelet where we added a new charm every Christmas. I'm giving these to Elizabeth and Sarah, not because I want them gone, but because Margaret would want her treasures with the women she loved. These objects meant something because of the love behind them. That love doesn't die with her. It continues in how we remember, how we honor, how we carry forward the lessons she taught us. Margaret believed in small kindnesses. She brought soup to sick neighbors. She sent birthday cards to everyone she knew. She never walked past someone who needed help. That was her legacy, not money or possessions, acts of love. I can continue that. I can be the person she saw in me. This week I'm starting volunteer work at the senior centre. Margaret volunteered there for 15 years before she got too sick. She'd come home with stories about the people she met. The lonely widows who just needed someone to talk to. The men whose families never visited. She made everyone feel seen, feel valued. I want to do that too, not to replace her. No one could. But to extend her kindness into a world that needs it desperately. Because that's what Margaret would want. That's what our 61 years together taught me. Life is precious. Love is everything. And the best way to honor someone you've lost is to embrace everything they loved about being alive. I'm 83 years old. I just lost the love of my life. And somehow, I have to find a way to keep loving life anyway. Not despite losing her, but because I had her, because she showed me what it means to love fully, fight bravely, and face each day with grace. That's her final gift to me, and I'm going to spend whatever time I have left unwrapping it. Tomorrow I'll wake up, and she still won't be here. The day after that too, and every day after for the rest of my life. But I'll wake up anyway. I'll keep going. Keep loving, keep living, for both of us now. Margaret taught me that love doesn't end with death. It transforms. It becomes memory, inspiration, purpose. She's gone, but what we built together remains. In our children, our grandchildren, in every life we touched. That's immortality, not living forever, but creating love that outlasts you.